I'm Joan Sills, and today we're going to be talking to Taylor Safford, the CEO of Pier 39. Pier 39 is, I think, has always been or for a long time, the biggest tourist attraction in San Francisco,
Yeah,
and maybe the second in all of California.
that's the report.
Oh,
Yes.
that's great. So why don't you tell us a little bit, for those three people out there that actually don't really know personally what Pier 39 is, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is and how you got involved with it to begin with?
Okay. So Pier 39 is a 45-acre shopping center complex, sort of an entertainment zone, just east of Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. It was built and opened in 1978, so we're a little over 40 years old. There's about 110 shops, restaurants, attractions on the property, and it's from fine dining, white tablecloth dining, all the way down to walk-away donuts and hot dogs, and sort of everything in between. We have about a dozen attractions on the property, everything from sort of flyover rides to boat rides on the bay. And so we have about 60 retail shops as well. The focus of the retail and the tenant mix tries to skew to be sort of more local and independent. We do have a couple of national restaurants and one national retailer on the property, but it's mostly designed to be something that you can't experience back in your mall in Omaha, back home. And so we have 15 million visitors a year. And as you mentioned, we're fortunate enough to be the most visited attraction in town, more than even the Golden Gate Bridge, which we're pretty proud of. And so in terms of how I arrived here, I was in college in the Midwest at a small liberal arts school and didn't like it and wanted to go out and experience the world. And so the short story is I came to San Francisco kind of on just a whim. Didn't really have a strong direction why I wanted to be here or anything. So, but I wound up at Pier 39 and we started working in the arcade there. And so I ran the carousel and the bumper cars, and it was a tough living. But it opened some doors, and I was fortunate enough to make some good choices. And I went back to school ultimately and got my degree, and it's been a wonderful career for me ever since.
So how long have you been CEO?
Since 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you've been at Pier 39 40 years?
40 years, yes.
Oh my
It'll
gosh.
be 42 years in February,
Wow.
yes. Yeah.
I know very few people that have worked someplace, even though you've been in a million jobs and done a tremendous amount of things, but have worked someplace for 40 years. Why did you decide to do that? Or why, what it was so attractive about it to you that you've stayed all these years?
Yes. So the decision to stay was easy because the opportunity existed. And so I was fortunate enough to have taken some steps to advance my opportunity. I went back to finish my bachelor's degree and then went back and got an MBA. And both of those things were springboards in and of themselves. So I think you have to create the opportunity, but I was also very lucky to be, at the right place at the right time more than once with my company, to be able to get the steps that I got to be able to have a growth path to where I am today. And so, it's partial luck and it's partial hard work. When I came to Pier 39 in 1979, I'd never been to a boardwalk before, never seen one, and I was mesmerized by it because the place is magical. I mean, people come from all over the world to visit San Francisco, and one of the things they're most captivated by is, believe it or not, is Pier 39.
Yeah.
But when the place is busy and there's a lot of people around and kids are laughing and yelling and having fun and giggling and screaming on the bungee trampoline or on the boat ride, and you can hear the seagulls and smell the salt air and see the sea lions and the smells of all the donuts cooking and the chocolate chip cookies and people eating ice cream. The place kind of has an energy all unto itself, and that's pretty special. So it would have been hard to tempt me away from the property kind of once I got there. So I just got lucky, Joan, is really the short answer. Yeah.
That's great. Tell me a little bit about the culture. What's the culture of the folks that work there?
So fundamentally, people are on vacation when they come and see us. So we're very mindful to create an environment in which people can have fun and enjoy themselves. And so we try not to sort of overdo the do's and the don'ts kind of thing.
Sure.
That it's really let people experience the property how they want to experience the property. And it's, you know, it's, the landscaping is beautiful. There's flowers everywhere. It's clean. We take, you know, a high pride in how we present the property. But apart from that, the employees, you know, one of the things that we've tried to focus on is for all employees to be the reason that people fall in love with San Francisco. That's kind of the tagline and the mantra of who
Yeah.
we are as an organization, because everyone has to take personal responsibility for not only yourself and the people you work with, but for the guest experience. And so trying to instill that in, we've got, between the various companies that Pier 39 controls, I've got 500 employees. And that's not including all of the tenant employees
Sure.
who are on the pier. So there are about 2,000 employees total on the pier, of which about 500 work for me personally, or for my
Yeah.
organization. And so, yeah, you know, getting everyone to put their oar in the right timing and the right direction, you know, so that we believe that's sort of the idea of taking responsibility for the guests' happiness, and being aware that your actions impact the experience that people have on the property every single day by everything that you do. And so that's sort of soup to nuts, top to bottom. We all try and live that, and we reinforce it all the time.
I love that idea of being the reason that people love San Francisco. I
Mhm.
mean, I think that's a wonderful, way to think about it.
Yeah.
Um, and so let me ask you this. Obviously, we're still going through this period of COVID and all of the things that go along with it, the impact on business, the impact. So what has been the biggest impact for you, and what has been one big learning that you've gotten out of this?
Yeah. It's been a hard adjustment.
I bet, I
It's
bet.
no surprise to anyone in your audience. Uh, so we've been able to adapt, and fortunately for us, we also, our brand carries cachet with the local market as well, and so we have had enough visitor traffic. It's been very hyper local. We're not getting people flying into San Francisco by any stretch of the imagination. Business travel is essentially zilch, and leisure travel even lower. But people are driving in. Our garage is almost at 100% of prior
Wow.
year, which is great.
Wow.
That shows you kind of what's happening. So a lot of people driving. We do get people from out of state coming in as well, because San Francisco is essentially on sale right now. There are very few people here, and you can get deals on hotels generally. So we've been lucky to be able to draw from, you know, largely our 9-county Bay Area, and then outside the valley a lot. And LA is a good feeder market for us. And as I said, we have a sprinkle of people who are coming from out of state. So that's been good enough to sort of allow us to make the rent modifications to our tenants. We have about 110 tenants on the pier, so that they can stay whole,
Sure.
sort of right size their deals to kind of a percentage rent only deal, kind of make this something that could make sense for them, as we kind of all try and grow and stabilize our way through this process. That's been sort of our experience. People
Yeah.
still want to have fun. There's a lot of pent up demand for things to do, that, you know, to get out of your house and enjoy, that you feel safe. One of the biggest takeaways is how important safety is to the retail experience, to the attraction experience, to the restaurant experience. It is job number one. No one will want to sit down in a restaurant and have a meal if they feel like, you know, they're going to get sick. And
Yeah.
same goes for going into a retail shop. If you don't show them pretty quickly as they're looking at your storefront that that you're going to be very careful about their experience in the store, they're not going to come into your shop. So we're an outdoor center, so fortunately that open air helps us as well. So we're very fortunate we're not an enclosed mall.
Right.
That
Which is
would be,
great. I mean, for people that have been cooped up, just to be able to go someplace that's outside and see things and walk around and do
and
things.
that's safe, and you can bring your family, and yeah, all those things come into play and are important, and we're fortunate to be able to have them. So yes.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me just personally, if you look over your time there, what's been the most fun or something that's been really exciting for you?
one of the most fun things that I did was when I was working at Blue and Gold Fleet. I was the president of Blue and Gold Fleet. I was a prior job to when I moved over to Pier 39 as CEO.
And Blue
Was
and Gold
to
part of Pier 39.
Here, it's an
Yeah.
affiliate of Pier 39, yes. And we created a rocket boat experience that was really a lot of fun. And bringing that whole concept to life from soup to nuts, from the very seed of the idea to design, to reality, to construction, to delivery, to, all the branding and marketing that goes into it. So ultimately it became such an expensive boat to maintain that it just wasn't penciling out. And so we've had to stop that as an opportunity, but it didn't take away from the excitement of building it. And we already have a replacement for it in mind. We're going to need to sort of normalize business before we can afford to bring the Rocket Boat 2 experience to life. But we're very much hopeful of being able to do that in the not too distant future, and certainly get back on airplanes and travel and come back to San Francisco is, also something I certainly hope and look forward to too.
Yeah. I have to admit, I've been on the Rocket Boat. It's so much fun. I screamed my head off. It's kind of like, some of it's like a roller coaster kind of thing, but you're in the water and it's really great.
Getting wet. It's all fun. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. I'm curious, just why do you think Pier 39 has been so successful? What is the key?
Interesting question. Part of it is its location. Pier 39 is in the right spot. And there's a quick story too about why Pier 39 even came to be.
Yeah.
The original developer was walking with his wife on the Embarcadero, who's a San Francisco native, and they opened an unlocked door on old cargo pier number 39, and he was a restaurateur. He developed the Tia Maria Mexican restaurant chain, which was the first national Mexican restaurant chain. And he and his wife walked out, and literally right in front of Alcatraz Island is a quarter mile away, or a mile and a quarter, I guess. And he said, "This is going to be a great place for a Mexican restaurant." And from that idea, Pier 39 was created. He'd never done a shopping center, anything like it in his life, made all kinds of mistakes, but he got it done. So he spent $1 million of his own money on the entitlements in 1977. And it was a lot of money, 40 years ago. But got it entitled, that he got it opened and done, and quickly, through operational issues and some lawsuits and things like that, he sold it to the people that I work for now. So I think part of the reason is that he was involved to get it open. The second part of the reason it's been so successful is he sold it to people who were in the shopping center business, who had cut their teeth and professional careers on that. And so they kind of right-sized it from 1981 on, and spent, address the tenant mix and closed some restaurants. There were too many of those when it opened, and kind of fixed the whole mix of the experience. And it's free. So that's those three things. People have the expectation that we can go to Pier 39 and there's no charge, and there isn't. It's free. But our job is to make it so enticing that you can't leave without buying a big soda and a hot dog and ice creams for everybody on your way out the door, with a bag of cookies in your back pocket. And we do that pretty well.
And I think the sea lions probably help a little bit too.
They were manna from heaven when they showed up in 1990, right after the earthquake. I mean, what a godsend. So yes, we were very blessed in that regard.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let me ask you one more question. If I'm a big person on light bulb moments or things happening, somebody asking you a question, or you looking at something differently that makes you go, "Oh, let's do that," or "Why didn't I think of that?" Can you think of a light bulb moment that you've had while at Pier 39?
Yes. So it involved me personally. So when I got out of the arcade, when I first started working there, and I started working in what is essentially our treasury department, and I was, because the arcade generated a lot of cash, hard cash money, we were essentially the cash control department who counted. We had a big bill counter and big coin sorters, and we did all that stuff, and we made the deposits every day. And so I started, and we would also do reconciliations and things like that. So I started to do light accounting work, and I quickly realized after the Pier was sold to this group of investors, that the accounting people in the company really were the key decision makers locally on the property. And so I thought, if I'm going to stay and I want to be successful here, that's the direction I need to go. So it took me a few years, but when I went back and got my MBA, it was a springboard to a tremendous opportunity, because there was only one other person at the time in the company with an MBA, and it was highly valued by our non-local ownership.
Yeah.
And so that was a light bulb moment for me, is recognizing the right pathway. I could have guessed wrong, but I wound up, I didn't, and I happened to guess correctly. And so there was a big payoff for me. So it was a light bulb moment, and I got fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I want to thank you so much for spending some time with us. I hope that everybody listening to this takes their family and goes to Pier 39 and takes a look at the sea lions, maybe gets one of those donuts and has a good time and enjoys it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, Joan.
Bye-bye.